Hey y'all. So happy Thursday. So I'm going to be talking about a tool that you can use to assess your eating habits. Okay, mainly like the feeling you get either you're too full, hungry. What should that feel like if you're eating in a caloric deficit? How should that feel intuitively? Okay, so the question I have is: in your past, how often have you felt guilt and or shame about the amount of food you ate? So I personally really struggled with this for honestly a super long time because I just had developed a very unhealthy habit that's stuck in with me for years, and it's something I still struggle with, but I've gotten a lot better grasp on. And it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I was able to intuitively control and monitor how much food I needed to feel and look my best. Okay, so cognitively now I know how much that is, and I even know how much it feels. But sometimes I still the psychological craving and the desire for more. Okay, living in the way that I used to live um, overcomes cognitively what I know. It overcomes cognitively what I know I should choose to do. And as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to eat until I felt stuffed. Ever since I was a kid, as long as I could remember, if I wasn't stuffed, I wasn't satisfied. Okay. And then as a result, what do you think happened? I was a very fat, very fat kid, and I kind of lived in guilt and shame because of how big I was. And this trend continued when I played college football. I weighed in at like 308 pounds, and I lived at a number 10 on the scale that I'm going to share with you here in a minute. That actually is it's behind me, but I wrote it down. But anyway, I have it here as well. And eating this way caused me to live in the cycle of guilt and shame. Okay. So my hope for you is that, like me, you'll learn to turn off the "I must eat" switch. It's to help you do just that. I have this cool crazy tool. I really like it. That I'm going to share with you today that I believe you're going to love. Okay, so most healthy thin people feel best when they stick with a 3 to 4 range. Okay, which can be seen right here when they stick to 3 to 6 range. My bad. I think I said 3 to 4. And this is a healthy thin habit that most people ignore. So here's kind of the example, or here's how the scale works. What if you're to number one? Okay, you're beyond hungry, so it's been a long time since you've eaten, or you've taken a bite of half of an apple, if that. Okay, you're beyond hungry. You feel absolutely ravenous. You might feel lightheaded or headachy and your body is weak. Okay, if you're living at number one, that probably means that there's some sort of an eating disorder that you're suffering from. Okay, two. Okay, uncomfortably hungry or you're hangry, you're grouchy and might feel a little tired. Okay, if you're habitually at a two, that's not ideal because you're in such a dire strait that it's affecting your mood, and that isn't honestly it's just not enjoyable, so it's not sustainable long term. Okay, and a lot of people that's where they'll live initially when they first try to lose weight, um, because they get quicker weight loss results, but the problem is it's not sustainable long term. All right, three, you want this is where you ideally if you're this is a good place to be. A 3 or a 4. This is assuming you haven't eaten in 3 to 5 hours. So if it's been 3 to 5 hours, you want to eat and your stomach feels empty. Okay, that's a big difference than from feeling cognitively or there's a psychological craving, then we get hungry. Okay, that is very different. This is than a physiological feeling that's in your gut. So if you want to eat and your stomach feels empty, that's a good sign that you've eaten a proper amount. Let's say at breakfast, and now it's lunchtime, and now you can eat that amount. Okay, and then four, you're thinking about food and starting to feel hungry. That's a great place to be too. So it's been 4 or 5 hours since breakfast, and it's about noon now, or whenever it is that you eat lunch, and you're starting to feel hungry. You're starting to think about food. That is normal. That's natural. And a hunger sensation is a good sign that you're in a caloric deficit, and your body will actually lose weight, assuming you don't overeat when you do eat. Okay, now number five. So you've eaten enough food to stop the hungry feeling, and your mood is good. Okay. That's a great place to be. If you can do that consistently, you'll be thin and you'll be healthy. Okay, if from a consumption standpoint. Okay, 6, you're satisfied and feeling full. This is where most people go to who are typically thin and healthy. They'll eat just enough where they feel full and they're satisfied. Okay, and now we're going to get into the habits and the way people eat who are overweight. Okay, 4, your body is full, but your mind, okay, wants to eat more. So you take a few extra bites. All right. And those few extra bites add an addition per meal 50, 60, maybe 100 calories. And maybe those few bites are 200 calories. So spread out over the course of 2 meals, what do you got? 600 extra calories over the course of a week. It's an extra pound of fat. So less than ideal, right? Now, so now let's say you're number 8. After taking a few extra bites, you begin to feel full. You begin to not feel as well. It's just kind of a little bit bloated. You begin to regret your decision. You know you should have probably stopped eating. Okay, but you've gone this far. The food's delicious. I'm going to power through it. That's what I would have said. 9, you keep eating, and with even more food, you feel bloated, tired, and uncomfortable. It's not where you want to be. Okay. And then this takes it to a whole new level. This is like Brazilian barbecue level. 10, you still continue to eat. You might be sweating, your heart is pounding, and you feel miserable. Like even when you try to drink something, it just feels like it just swells up everything. Okay, you don't want to be there. If you are a 7, 8, 9, or 10 habitually, that is a sign that you're overeating and you won't lose the weight that you want. You won't fit into the skinny clothes you want. And when you look in the mirror or take photos, you're not going to be happy with what you see. Okay. To change that, you ideally you want to be at a 4, a 5, a 6, or a 7. Okay. Sorry, no, not at a 7. I lied. At a 3 or a 4 before you eat, that's how you should feel. And then after you eat, or like you want to stop when you feel at a 5 or a 6. Okay. And here's why it matters. When you get too hungry, it sets you up to overeat. Okay. And when you overeat, you feel tired, sick, and tempted to skip meals. All right. And it can turn into a yo-yo cycle. Okay. Binge, starve, binge, starve. And over time, that progressively is going to make you weigh more and more and more. Okay. All right. So finding your sweet spot is a big part of intuitive / habit-based eating. Okay. And we'll slowly get there, but it's super important. Okay. And it takes a little practice. Honestly, I lied. It takes a lot of practice to get this down. You're not going to be an overnight success with it. Like I said, it took me years before, and I still honestly slip up and fail sometimes because I'm just like, screw it, I want to eat more. And I still need to be cognizant of these 10 steps and where I'm at. And when I'm aware and cognizant of this, it's much easier and I'm more apt to eat less than if I'm just going to pretend I'm just going to eat till I'm full. Okay. So this habit is definitely worth it. So how would you rate yourself? Typically at every meal you eat, where do you typically eat to? Okay. And now the verse of the day is Romans 1:16. It says, "For I'm not ashamed of the gospel because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes." Okay. Paul is the author of this. And he isn't bragging about how bold he is and how strong he is. He's like, I'm not ashamed. Why are you ashamed? No, he's bragging about how bold God has made him. Okay. He isn't bold because of this innate power or because of this power within him. He feels this power to be bold because God has given it to him. All right. What it's like is it'd be like if you got challenged to play 2 NBA players in basketball. All right. And you had to pick your partner. And on the bench, you see this short, freckled faced kid who looks like complete trash and garbage. Like on the outside, he looks like he would be terrible at basketball. But for whatever reason, you know that he is the best one ever to play the game of basketball. Okay. You know that with him on your side, you can't help but be victorious. Okay. That is what Paul's talking about here. So when you are plugged into the ultimate source, okay, God, through Christ's work and on the cross, his life, death, burial, and resurrection, the thoughts and opinions of what others judge you on, seem to matter much less. Okay. Will they still affect you? Yeah, it's still going to hurt, but what's going to affect you much less, and it'll empower, enable you to be bold. Okay. Well, I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys have a great Thursday. Bye.